Hello again, YouTube! This is Dr.Kendo, and I'm back with Scribblenauts Unlimited. This is for the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 Phantom Animatronics and Springtrap and whatever else we can throw in here. So we did have actually 3 speed create episodes that showed all of these creations off in a very, as would be implied, in a very fast way. So now we're actually going just slightly slower, but we have the addition of my commentary to explain how exactly do we create these things. So you can see actually this pattern here that we've used. It's on the 8th page of the color pattern library. It's got this sort of, well, my wife said peanut butter look to it. It's like a quicksand look to me. But anyway, if you give it kind of this greenish yellow tint and things, we can use that for the skin of Balloon Boy, and of course we'll color everything else accordingly as well. One other thing about the Phantom characters that I noticed was that, of course, they're missing kind of their normal eyes, and they now all kind of have this sort of silvery, crazy tint for the back part of the eye, and then just a little white dot within it, so they're kind of menacing looking and stuff, phantom looking. I have colored the Balloon Boy shirt actually now with this same pattern that I used for Drax the Destroyer. It was just because the Balloon Boy shirt, you know, it's kind of a mix of blue and red, and so that was probably, I guess, the best way that I wanted to convey the colors for that. Of course, this Phantom Balloon Boy was actually started from my Balloon Boy creation, and you'll see that all of the creations from this video right here have actually been used in past episodes of mine. So please, you know, turn your annotations on, because I will annotate to those episodes all for each character to see. So for instance, Balloon Boy came in my Five Nights at Freddy's 2 creation episode, as well as the puppet or marionette here. So Balloon Boy, the source object was Aiden Sagawa for that one, and then this is a mecha. But again, if you see the original episode that I created them in, then you will actually see kind of the in-depth for, you know, which source object to use, which little stamp pieces to use, and all of that. We are doing a lot of just different colorations and stuff for the Phantoms, and again, adding the different eyes that I mentioned before. So like, for instance, we're using Pimple right here for the puppet's little white dot in his eye. A pimple, of all things. We'll give him that peanut buttery quicksand color pattern now, and you could actually kind of do the zebraic pattern if you wanted the zebra colors and stuff on his mask as well, since the mask really has that burned look to it and whatnot for the puppet. I just kind of did these little lines and stuff and made it a little bit darker white, kind of off yellow white. But yeah, seeing the past episode where I created all of these original characters that we're using, that will help you a lot for, you know, if you haven't seen those yet, you know, it'll help you even create the Phantom versions. And you know, these are not exactly just a recolor. You know, yes, I am recoloring most of my original design and not changing a whole lot on some of them, but there are the additions, for instance, with the eyes that I've already mentioned and stuff, how their eyes all look different in their Phantom forms, but I am adding and taking away different details and making them accordingly. And if you know, look at Five Nights at Freddy's 3 objectively and clearly, it actually, I mean, what Scott has done with the characters is essentially recolored them, you know? It's like Freddy looks like Freddy, but he's Phantom Freddy, you know, he's just a recolored Freddy, basically. Of course, the Phantom Freddy is missing the ear and various things, so we will reflect that. And Springtrap, you can actually see we have the Springtrap that I created back in episode 95. That was before it ever even had a name confirmed. And I do want to specify about that, I never said that the name wasn't going to be Springtrap or any of the names that the fans were theorizing and guessing about, but all I was saying was that you are guessing or theorizing until it's actually 100% revealed, clearly. Yeah, I was aware of the Scott announcements where he did the little decoded message and stuff that said, "My name is Springtrap," and it's sort of like if Nintendo or any other gaming company for that matter was to be releasing a trailer for a game or something, but they didn't really give a name for the project or anything, but fans theorized and guessed a name for it. Well, guesses and theories can of course end up being correct, but until that game actually comes out, or there's a clear statement that says this game's name is, or this animatronic's name is, for our example, then the guesses and theories will still remain that, just guesses and theories. But now that the game is out, we do know its name is Springtrap 100%, so it is concretely Springtrap, so I have named it Springtrap, of course, and added all the details that we couldn't see, because now that we can see Springtrap in all of his glory and stuff in the game and in the images from the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 menus and stuff like that, we can now see a lot more details, which I added to our Springtrap creation. But yes, we do have Chica now, the Phantom Chica, and it's basically the zebra pattern. I've done the zebraic colors, but paint them yellow or kind of more like a greenish off yellow, kind of a nasty color, of course, and we replaced Chica's feet with dragon feet, just like we actually have Foxy having the dragon feet too as well. I removed some dots here for the eyes and stuff, and basically kept the teeth right there for Chica's beak and mouth and everything. But I think one of the, especially one of the other things to focus on is Chica is just sort of big and round in this watermelon shape and stuff, in this watermelon look. So that's kind of what I've done with our Phantom Chica creation right here while editing the existing Chica that I had. That came from actually episode 84, the first time I created any Freddy's objects. So yeah, I talked about before with Phantom Freddy, it looks a lot like Freddy, of course, Freddy Fazbear, but it does have an ear missing and there's some wires hanging around, and of course the different colors and stuff, and the eyes, the Phantom eyes. We did actually take away the current kind of sockets for the eyes that I had right there, the dots that were black, and we've now put the golem's shoulder. So if you just copy the shoulder piece of the golem and paint that completely black, that can be kind of the socket parts of the eyes for our Phantom Freddy. And then of course just use circles, and you can either use dots or pimples for the little tiny white dot in his eyes. And now for the quicksand peanut butter colors, of course, and then just recolor them, the kind of nasty green, brown, yellowish almost color right here. You just want them to look kind of sick, because that's what they look like. Of course, they look like, well, a lot of people are saying that they were burned, so it does. They look like they were burned. We put a hackberry down. If you just type in hackberry and we put that on Freddy's, that would be Freddy's left arm. It would be to our right. That's sort of that little wiry shape kind of hanging out right there. Anytime you see little ripped pieces on these characters, it's usually a tornado. It's a piece of a tornado that I've put down and colored black, of course. Or for Springtrap, I colored them kind of flesh tones or organ tones. And root, R-O-O-T, is kind of what I use for Freddy's ear wires, and then the wires that are on his right arm, which would be to our left. So moving right along, we've got the Withered Foxy design right here, which we're going to convert into Phantom Foxy. Now, I know that I have worked really fast on any Foxy creations in the past, and I do regret to say that some people have not been able to follow kind of exactly what Foxy is made out of. It is a male dancer as the source object, but you'll actually see this piece that we're painting right here is the torso piece of a man. You have to find the specific man that has those kind of pants and sort of a neutral t-shirt. It doesn't have buttons or anything like that. So you could see I just pulled it off for a second right there. But the reason that we did that, instead of just starting off with a man as the source object, which you could do, the reason we actually did it is so that we could save stamp space on the arms, because those are the male dancer's arms right there. And that actually does save us stamp space when we don't have to replace them with other arms or anything like that. If we can just keep them on there, that will actually save us just a little bit. So I've actually taken off the eyelid parts, the upper eyelid pieces for Foxy, and I didn't think Foxy could get in any worse shape, honestly. We've seen him in just horrible, terrible shape in the other games and stuff, but now he really is actually even worse as the Phantom Foxy. Pretty soon, I think it's just gonna be like a pile of dust. Oh, but everybody loves Foxy. So now actually I'm going to type in jaw, and I removed the teeth. We had teeth as his kind of teeth and mouth and everything like that. The reason is so that I could make the jaw hang down lower and, more open, and just show the teeth on the bottom part right there. His pants are all nasty and torn up and everything like that, so we did this cracked color pattern and painted them, of course, accordingly with the right colors. That, again, you'll see how to create Foxy kind of in the original episode, which was 84, but just to kind of go over some of those again. As I said, it was the male dancer source object, but it's also Deuce, or D-U-C-E, for, that's one of Maxwell's brothers. That's actually the legs for Foxy. And then dragon feet, so that is the feet of a dragon down there. Root, R-O-O-T, again, is actually going to be the piece of arm. It's like Foxy's, his right arm, but to our left is actually really just missing half of the whole arm. So it sort of has a little stub, like endoskeleton piece kind of hanging off the end. And so we actually turned the root around so it looks like it's cracked up above the top part of the arm. Then the other part of the root, the base of the root, is actually sticking out, kind of like the endoskeleton bone or whatever, basically the nub or the stub that's hanging right there. And Foxy, actually, his body is just in awful shape. It's like missing a lot of chunks of pieces and stuff like that. So that's why we have used a tornado, that kind of piece of a tornado, and we painted it sort of that circuitry color to show that it's missing. So you can actually see we did include a Phantom Mangle. Now, there aren't really any pictures, at least of the recording of this commentary. I'm recording this on Thursday, March 5th. And as of this time, I haven't really seen any good pictures of Mangle that are clear, that show the entire Mangle. I just imagine, in similar keeping with the Phantom creations that we've already done here and the design for those, I just figured this is kind of what our Mangle could look like. I took off the endoskeleton head that is usually kind of detached from it, and from my original original Mangle design. Again, in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 creation video, episode 86, which will be annotated to probably several times throughout this video. But here they all are. This is awesome seeing all of them in order. And we're actually on the level in Scribblenauts Unlimited called the Underline. And I used to have all of the Five Nights at Freddy's creations from all of the games and all of the Easter eggs and stuff that I had done thus far. I used to have them all in a line, but actually this game does have a limit in Scribblenauts Unlimited. Believe it or not, there's a limit here as well. Once you start placing too many of your own custom-made objects onto the map or onto this level, they will actually start disappearing, you know, so it actually takes some of them off the level. So you can only have a certain number, so I unfortunately can't show you them all in a line right here, but with the magic of editing, I will go ahead and pull some screenshots of every character that I've done thus far and line them all up in one screenshot so you can see them. And why not? Maybe I'll do an annotation to the episodes that each of them appears in so you can see how to create them and just catch anything you might have missed, of course. And I haven't forgotten anybody, so, you know, if you see something that's missing right now, it's just because I have not gotten to that person or thing yet, or I'm never going to get to it by choice. So I actually did not forget it. There's a few more FNaF things that we could create, several characters, of course, but also concepts and things, so the Freddy's videos aren't gonna stop or anything, but I do like to balance them out with non-Freddy's objects, you know, because there are a lot of non-FNaF people within my subscriber list as well, so just trying to cater to all sides. But I did just want to say, especially with the speed creates of each of these characters that you saw in this episode, the speed create versions that I did earlier in the week, you know, those 3 episodes, you guys have left some amazing comments. I mean, everybody's being so cool. It makes me really appreciate the time that I've invested to build up this community and things of, you know, members of Kendopolis here. So I really, really appreciate it, and I want you guys to know that obviously I reply to all your comments that make sense to reply to, but just know it doesn't go unnoticed. I sincerely love everything positive that you guys have been saying. It's really been quite heartwarming, and I just, I want to thank you so much. And maybe this is a rant, but hey, you'll have things on screen to entertain you, hopefully. But, you know, you can do things in many ways to gain success in life. Most of the time, unless it's just handed to you in your lap by someone or something, most of the time, your success will involve the struggle or suffering. It basically goes hand in hand, and I won't complain about it. One way I've actually seen my detractors go about their business is blaming others for their lack of success. That's one way people might do things. Or you could walk to every single person's computer screens and show them exactly what you have to offer, and that is what I'm doing. Although this walking thing is a metaphor, just a metaphor, which reminds me I really should do more physical walking. I'm definitely more out of shape than I should be at my age. And as I mentioned, there is a struggle involved and suffering, and that's actually where I find myself still right now. I have incredible never-ending neck pain because I go to my full-time job for 8 hours a day, and then I come home and have to plan meticulously how I can maximize time with my wife and 2 dogs and my dad, all while squeezing a few minutes or an hour out of answering over 700 to 1,000 emails I get just from YouTube for comments. And then that neck pain that I have actually restricts breathing, movement, and my vocal cords, and I constantly make myself sick because of denying myself any time to slow down or just to relax or do nothing. All of this to go to sleep for about 5 or 6 hours if I'm lucky, and get back up to do it all again the next day. And you know something? In the end, I'm working towards fully living my passion, and honestly, I'm doing so many things now that involve my passion of video games, music, voice acting, and commentary all in one, so I know that I'm moving towards something amazing. A person can do several things to gain success. Unless it's handed to you right in your lap by somebody, I can tell you, the only way to get from point A to point Z is to walk the whole damn way. And that is what I'm doing. So thank you so much for doing the walk with me, Kendopolis. I love you. And as always, I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. So I step on other lives' twists and turns, and I made the cycles end with dignity and courage. Now I hope to God that everyone can learn something from what I say, and hopefully you flourish. Getting down to the matter, let's look at it more. My words ain't meant to be about waging war. They're meant to bring justice to all wrongdoers. They're like a spectacle, so you can be the viewer. And
down the road of twists